You can stand right behind me and his head won't be covered up.
Alright.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then you're gonna go ahead and set your comments.
Yeah, just set them all out, like, so they're spread out, so you can just go back and sign them all out. Guys, it'll solve it if you want anything to get CGC'd or whatever, just let me know, we can fill out the forms, they arrange to have one of us here for you. So
You want me to be in your picture, bro? I don't know if you want the space in there with y'all.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a nice brother. I was like, get out.
Get out.
So I'm an only child.
Excellent. Thank you. My pleasure.
Of course. Thank you for setting. Alright. Oh, I think that's right. Alright.
Thank you.
And then go ahead and put your books up
And if
there.
anybody wants CGC or anything, that's why this lovely gentleman is here. He can facilitate any of that stuff you guys need.
Oh, this is the slowest closing door.
I don't know how to read one.
Yeah, just set your books up right next to each one of the prints, and someone combines.
Okay.
Here, this weekend?
Yeah.
Today?
You signed those today?
See, why can't I sign my name like that?
It's illegible. Nobody ever would
Why would you want to sign everything Chris Claremont?
Touche.
Oh.
Touche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Put it to the top so it'd be easy. Find out.
Understood.
But you can
Understood.
sign, if you want, he's gonna get a print, sketch on something else, so if you want to just sign.
All right, I can do that. Yeah.
Here, should I put that on there? Hold it down for you.
Hold it down. Thanks.
No worries.
That'll work.
There you go.
Yeah, see, exactly, so then we have the next ones over here.
Beautiful.
Like I said, we aren't gonna kick you guys out when the thing's over. You have plenty of time to put your stuff away after that. So don't feel like you got to. Yeah, so everybody who got one, these are the 5 seats for you guys to take. Yeah, of course, yeah, just, you can take that one, just put it at the table.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then everything, all the other 5 things you want to
And
get
not
signed,
just-
yeah, right there,
It's
absolutely.
not just thinking, oh my God, I'm old. It's melancholy. I remember doing this and having fun, but
I get it.
you look at something you did in 1979. Oh God, I was only 2 years old. And that joke's getting old. It's all mine. All
I
right.
was 2 and 70.
This is a watershed moment in comics history. Come on now. Twin, small people, mad scientists. Come on, a watershed moment. They gave it to me just as like a rite of passage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a little punk, do it. See what happens to him. Oh my God. And the mud monster. I get the water guy and Sandman, Sandman, mud
They
monster.
loved you. That was their hazing.
That's the truth. And then they asked me to do Disco Dazzler. So I got the feeling I ran the gauntlet just to see if I could get by it. Oh my God.
They were hazy is what they were doing.
And actually, speaking of that, that's what that hunk of the month shit was. Did you know that that was a prank? Yeah. Jim Shooter did it to me. I don't know. I think I sent a hooker to his apartment once. That's not true, but I should have. But he did that telling me that it was all the young single guys that were in comics at the time working for Marvel. It was Bill Sienkiewicz, myself, and Bob Layton, something like that. And he says, well, we're going to do this pinup thing because there's a lot of young girls. So he does the pinup of me and nobody else. I still get people putting it in front of me saying, did you really do this? Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mom, I won't do it again. Am I signing this, or this is going to be brought over the...
I don't, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Just don't sign that one Chris Claremont, all right?
Actually, if you do, I'll witness it.
There you go.
That was real enough. I'm Romita Jr., son Chris Claremont. That's a new way. I like that.
That would be a
We
unique
could do
use.
exactly.
That's true.
That's a good
That's
label.
true.
I like it. CGC would like that one.
I think I need
Silver? Yeah.
He can talk and write.
That's true, you can.
Okay.
Just don't ask me, let Cindy
Frank
Pepinelli.
Scott.
No, Cindy Spinelli.
Don't talk about what he's doing my book. Talk to
It's
that
okay.
guy.
I know it's spelling the name wrong.
But yeah, once again, you don't have to wait for him to go over there. If anybody has a question for John,
That's true, you can
feel
talk.
free to, and I always bring this up at every single one. You need to get his recipe for meatballs. But it is a delicious treat.
It's not a recipe, it's
Well,
a
it's a process. It's a process. It's a way of life.
Don't ever roll your meatballs tight. Just don't. When you make any sauce or meatballs with it, you pinch the meatballs out, you get some oil in a pan, and you drop it into the shallow oil and let it brown the little meatballs that you've only grabbed out of the pile that you made of the meat. And you drop that into the sauce. Half of them disintegrate in the sauce. Turns it into this beautiful, thick, almost like a chili type of. Then you add a little bit more queso. But the meatballs soak up all the sauce. Oh my God, it's so much better. When you roll them tight, they don't soak up. So you know you're with an amateur at a restaurant, it's a tight, dense meatball. You say, John Romita Jr.'s grandmother taught you this. Lucy Bruno, true story. Non you roll your meatball. So, what's up? You got any, you don't want to talk about meatballs? No. How about softball?
You're making me hungry right now.
Oh, that's the truth.
You're making me hungry right now.
Yeah, that's the truth. All right, oh, here's the other bit. I forgot about this from the first time. Strain your tomatoes. After you take your tomatoes and they're peeled already. Generally, you can buy them in the cans. Drop them into a blender and you blend it up. You pour it through a strainer and do not let the seeds get into the sauce because the seeds make it bitter. Because it's bitter, then you have to add sugar and sometimes extra salt, something like that. If you leave the seeds out, then you don't have to add as much seasoning to cover up the bitterness of the seeds. And the sauce tastes much more authentic, much more tomato-ish. That's true. That's from Virginia Romita. All right, now we can talk about comics. We're done.
Talk about comics and then whatever you want him to do. He wants to get his remark done on this. Whatever.
You want to get a remark of the Dazzler on this?
I didn't even say Dazzler.
Okay, any remark, because drawing the Dazzler on this cover.
Something unique. I thought this cover was very unique. It's one of my favorite issues. And I thought that would be the perfect book to bring. Something X-Men
I
related.
should draw Cindy Tempinelli on this. That's an inside joke. I'm joking about that.
Oh, I meant that.
Girl like
Like
David in
that.
1972.
On that, if I can.
You can your time to think about it.
I can
That's
think
cool.
about it.
You can get
Something
whatever you want to
unique
get.
about Dazzler. So it shouldn't be a Dazzler on a Dazzler cover. It would be unique.
Because Dazzler's good.
But if I drew Daredevil on the Dazzler cover, that would be unique.
Well, that's not X-Men.
No, you want something X-Men centric?
Yes. That is going to be a highlight of my collection. So you can think about it as long as you need.
Toad. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm trying to, now, but you're really got me stumped.
What's your favorite X-Men
My
character?
favorite X-Men character?
The draw.
To draw.
Yeah.
You can say Colossus.
It was, I like Colossus because of one thing. It reminded me of a character I created. I created because it looked like Colossus. There's some wise guy from Brooklyn called Bimbo.
Okay.
And I have a creation called Schmuggy and Bimbo, a story I went with Howard Chaykin. And it was based on Colossus. He's this gigantic, good-looking guy that, obviously, because he was called Bimbo, is always with women.
Okay.
So I always like Colossus because of that. But my favorite X-Men might be, I can't really tell you, I don't know. The guy that pops in and pops out, a guy with a pointy tail.
Nightcrawler.
I don't know. I really don't have an X-Men that
You
is my
did a
favorite.
good Nightcrawler in number 300.
Okay, fair enough. But from the original X-Men, that's a good question. Probably Cyclops, if I had to choose. Yeah, it's a unique character.
Okay.
But from the secondary group,
Sure.
it's Colossus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that answer. He's my favorite.
But
I love that.
Schmuggy and Bimbo will be out.
Okay.
Schmuggy and Bimbo will be out, and Colossus is based. Schmuggy and Bimbo are two wise guys that grew up with my parents in the 40s. And they were they protected the neighborhood, but only if you were a friend of theirs. And if you know what a wise guy is. So they were collectors, these two guys, but they loved my parents and loved the neighborhood. And one of them, my father called, his nickname was Schmuggy. And my father said, he looks like his name. He looked like a beat up catcher's mitt. And he was a short guy, short, stocky guy. Now, Bimbo was 6'4", built like an Adonis, had skin problems, but it was Colossus. So I created two characters based on, they are the Wolverine and the Colossus of Hitmen.
Yeah.
But the story is that the two of them are 150 years old because they were given special drugs by the head of the families to make them go without sleep and live longer and so on. Just experimental drugs. And the two of them have been around forever, and only one guy knows who they are. He's an old capo that's gonna die soon. But they're based on, to me, Wolverine and Colossus. So they're the Hitmen of Wolverine and Colossus. So that's what it is. So I have always been a fan of Colossus since Dave created him. Cochran, rest in peace, created him. It reminded me of the stories about Bimbo. Oh my God. So I'm gonna be drawing who on this thing? You didn't tell us. How about Colossus? Have I talked enough about Colossus?
I can talk all day about Colossus.
All right, fair enough. All right, that's cool. But on the X-Men, okay, it was an X-Men. Now, is she gonna be in the book regularly now, or semi-regularly, in the movie, something?
Currently, right now.
Yeah, didn't somebody bring her into the X-Men?
She was in the last Phoenix movie that Fox did.
That's what it was.
Yeah, but that's it. I don't know if those are now centric or anything.
I don't know.
All right, gosh, I hope not.
I don't think they're canon. I don't think they're MCU.
Let's review those.
Now, I love the story of the other character you created. The one that looks a little like Spider-Man, but he's in purple. He's got a nephew that's pretty popular in comics right now. What's that character called again? Prowler? Is that it?
Yeah. All right, I got a couple of lucky shots.
I know what you're talking about.
I've been lucky once or twice.
How did you feel about your time at DC?
I enjoyed it because of one thing, working with Frank on that Superman year one thing. Now, working on Superman with Jeff Johns was a pleasure.
Yeah.
But working on the year one with Frank that was the highlight.
I mean, you got a chance to do the big two with All-Star,
Yeah.
Batman.
I didn't get a chance to work on Wonder Woman though. And I don't know if that was because of timing or not, but I had a story lined up that I came up with myself, and suddenly things began to drop, and then COVID happened and it fell apart. But I wanted to get the three of them done. So that would have been a nice opportunity to do the big three at DC. But doing the year one thing with Frank, 200 pages of artwork. He gave me 15 pages of plot and let me do whatever I want. And that's so much fun. I had so much fun doing
It's hard
that.
to find these days.
It's true. And because Frank was an artist when he got into the business at the same time, a year after I came in. And he started with the Marvel way of doing his plotting and then storytelling. So he said to me, we worked on Man Without Fear that way, and then we worked on one of the Batman, forgot what it was called, the Batman series we worked on. Anybody remember the name of it? Something of Justice, something like that. He would hand me a plot and I could do whatever I wanted. And there would be plots of the pages that had some dialogue in it, but it was only for acting's sake. In other words, the character's gonna say this in this scene. What do you think his expression be, so to speak? But he lets me do whatever I wanted with it, and then I would never take anything out. I would always add a couple of extra panels to it, and he would add dialogue. But working with him was the highlight of working at DC. I have to say, absolutely true.
Who at Marvel do you, writer-wise, you like in the same way you like Frank? Yeah.
That's a great question. Frank, I worked with Frank and Mark.
True.
Mark Miller. God, there's so many. Dan Slott. Mark Miller, of course, with the Kick-Ass, but he and I worked on a Wolverine series together before. I've been lucky. I worked with Gaiman on the Eternals. There's so many writers I've been lucky to work with, and if I left any out, I apologize. So I apologize.
John Steinberg said that talking about the Marvel way and how much you let the pencilers go free.
Absolutely true, and
he said on Iron Man.
Yes, and he started off.
There's like a three-page fight scene to go.
Yeah, that's exactly true. And as an artist, he did this. He enjoyed it himself, working with the Marvel method. So when he and I worked together on Iron Man, and he actually gave me top billing. He gave me top billing on the book while I worked on it because he gave me such a brief amount of a plot. But, yeah, it would be a scene, it says, a scene arrives here, and they have to end up in this position, editorial-wise, they have to do this, knock yourself out. He'd give me one page, here, A to B is your fun stuff, but as long as B makes sense with the story. And because he was an artist first, he knows exactly. I loved every bit of working with Bern, he was great, he was a pleasure.
He wanted to know if
I want
you
to
do
give you Mysterio or
Mysterio or
Chameleon if you don't want to do
Right down there.
Mysterio or Chameleon?
Your choice.
Well,
Would you grab a pencil, please? I gotta start off with,
yeah.
oh, it's in my briefcase, let me go get it.
Here. That's right, we planned for this.
That's
I
right.
was bringing a pencil for something.
Well, I love the happy birthday story, and that was one of my theories going into No Way Home, was how it
Oh, okay.
ended, with how you ended it, with him getting that opportunity to talk to Uncle Ben, and I thought that's how, I said, this is
That's a good point.
This is a perfect
That's
way
good
to
storytelling,
bring it
yeah.
in.
Well
At
said.
that point.
That's a good point, yeah. All right, Mysterio, okay. My wife tells me she loves me, I think it's great. Yeah, important, yes. I heard you the first time, honey. Don't worry. Now, if my wife sees this on camera, I'm in trouble. Oh, shit. Edit that out.
All right, I will cut that from this clip.
Yeah, I knew that was coming in.
Listen, if she spends a lot of time on comic art fans. I
That's
think
a
you
good
know.
point. Good point. I don't think she will, but I'll get in trouble anyway.
Send it to her.
He said loved you.
All right, nice.
Nice.
Way to cover my posterior. Ditko created Mysterio, correct? Was it Ditko?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mysterio seems like only Ditko could create.
That's true. That's true.
To have those sort of sensibilities.
I loved his Doctor Strange.
Oh,
Absolutely
nobody
adored
does.
his Doctor Strange. Yeah, definitely. Matter of fact, I enjoyed his Doctor Strange more than I enjoyed his Spider-Man. And I really enjoyed his Spider-Man.
Didn't you say that if you could work on another book, like
Doctor
it would
Strange.
be Doctor
I have
Strange?
a great premise for it that applied to a couple of characters. It applied to Silver Surfer, and it applied to Superman, and then it applied to Doctor Strange too. But it's a long, involved thing with deity and so on. And I always thought I could do it without, I may yet get a chance to do it too. So we'll see what happens.
Do you know what you put like
I don't have enough time to describe the story, but, but let's put, it started off with Silver Surfer. He gets kidnapped by a deity, and the deity wants to create a society based on the Silver Surfer. Floating Boy Scout, and the Surfer refuses, so there's a fight, and the deity's trying to kill him. And he survives, and the whole plan was the deity did that on purpose to see if the society would be perfect with this perfect character. So Surfer gets away and actually does damage to the deity, and the deity starts the society anyway. So it's a long, involved series. And it applied to me, it applied perfectly to Superman too. You know, an intergalactic alien. And I thought the same thing would apply to Doctor Strange, just in his world.
Right.
Now that I've told you guys, I already copyrighted it, so you guys.
Yeah, you'll see that story written. So maybe that coming after
Don't
you.
forget confidential.
There you go.
Agreement here.
Who's this?
No leaking the story.
It gets turned into a bit of a Batman thing. So,
Right.
Tim Sale and like pulling Batman heads.
Besides Doctor Strange, if any company at that point, what are you pining to take on?
After Spider-Man, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a really good
What you
question.
want to work on? Like an idea you have?
Along the lines of what I just said, yes, I do. But if I had a choice of a character next, I think I may want to ask for Doctor Strange again. I've been getting Doctor Strange because I haven't had a chance to.
That'd be amazing.
That would be fun and interesting and
I like
so different from what I've done before because I'm so used to street level characters.
Yeah.
But who knows what they're going to ask me to do? That's a good question. That's a really good question. There you go.
I know I'm being selfish about X-Men, but have you ever thought of returning to it?
As a matter of fact, I have.
Current
I have.
era of X-Men?
I have, with only one problem, is I don't know who the writer would be, and I don't know who I'd want to work with. And group books for old guys is kind of tough. I don't know if I want to do it anymore. I'm joking, I would do it, yes, I would do it.
Well, how's it been working with Zeb Wells on ASM right now?
I told him this. He's a great writer, but he's challenging. He asks for Times Square at 11:59 on
It looks really good.
December 31st.
It's been
Oh, and by the way, there's a fight going on at the same time, you know, that kind of thing. He does, and I say challenging as a good thing because it makes you a better artist overall. That he asks me to do things that I haven't done before.
You didn't think you could do it, yeah.
It's instead of an easy way out with without a crowded scene, it's a crowded scene, but it's applicable and it's in the right place. And I curse him, but the book does well. I can't curse him. I can't curse him too much.
Well, there's 4 issues out now. The 4th one came out on Wednesday, and it's really good so far.
Thank you
The
very much.
fight scenes alone were just.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Did you read the last?
I did, yeah.
That twist.
I haven't read it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking sure.
Wait till you see what's coming up.
I was packing boxes to come up here, don't spoil it for me.
Listen, I didn't get any of my weeklies,
Yeah.
but I went and bought that specifically
Yeah.
so that I could read it and not be late.
I've only
to it.
read like
It's-
the first issue.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
That paints that character in a much higher light than I've ever thought.
It's
Like,
fantastic.
that's good.
That's cool. That's nice to hear.
I want to read it now.
But I'm still waiting for the end.
You can get it.
The very first
I
page is the
get
first
it.
issue when
I
you're
just haven't
screaming.
got- I get them in the mail.
Yeah.
I want to see that fleshed out. That's not going to happen for a little while.
I'm willing to
It's a
wait.
cliffhanger. So thank you.
I'm willing to wait.
I'm on issue 11, I believe I'm on. We'll see.
How long are you staying?
I'm going to stay on until they kick me off. The
They're
book
gonna
is,
kick you off.
the book is doing very well. I was talking to
Yeah.
Scott Hanna about
Oh,
this.
really? That's good.
Both of us were kind of not waiting for them to tell us, but we figured that the sales would be the reason that they can't kick us off the book. So it's supply and demand, and that's what we are. We're supposed to do it according to sales. If you do well, you get more work. 45 years of commission, you know. There's no salary involved where you can have a lazy week. You just can't have a lazy week. You can't do that. Can't get sick either. So as long as the book is doing well and they're happy.
I think it'll do well. I think so.
If Zeb keeps up,
I think it'll do very well. With him coming off of Hellions,
agreed.
it was
Yeah.
a lot of people, and as soon as I saw that it was announced that you were on the book, we were at dinner, and she couldn't figure out why I was freaking out. I'm like, it's John Romita Jr. on Amazing Spider-Man months before it was supposed to come out.
And
It was
it
amazing.
started, the conversation started over dinner with somebody at Marvel when I was still over DC. Who would you work on if you came back? I said, I'd love to do Spider-Man again, maybe X-Men. All right. And then all of a sudden, they threw it at me.
That's amazing.
Funnily enough, he wants Captain America.
Oh, I'm
Captain America, that's easy.
I'll put Storm on there.
Really mess with people.
There you go.
Well,
Make it
it really,
functional.
it depends
So
on how well the
can
book
you
does.
tell X-Men is?
I like the phone case, though.
Yeah.
I would do X-Men again. I would definitely do X-Men again,
I
definitely.
would love to see you on X-Men again. I would.
And I love doing Daredevil too. I
Oh, I
wouldn't
love
see it
Daredevil.
I would approach Frank and see what Frank is interested in doing. Say, what if you get back to doing it again? That would be fun.
That definitely would sell.
Yeah.
The issue one alone at that point would.
That would be fun. I wonder what he's doing. I gotta ask him.
Now you gotta
You're about to
ask
reach
him.
to your phone.
They're like texting him right now, it's like, what are you doing right now? I got an idea.
Yeah, he and I get along great because we came up generally at the same time, doing the same thing. And it's just a pleasure to work with somebody who knows to let the artist play with it.
Is what kind of brings out his words strong like that.
I think so, because if the artist knows how to tell a story and the writer knows that he can let the guy go, it does make the writer look good. And then the writer can, the dialogue, but yeah, exactly right. The dialogue can apply to the storytelling that's been done by the writer who gets along famously with the writer. The artist and the writer get along. So it does, you're both scratching each other's backs. I agree.
Well, I know Amazing has been very action-packed lately. but what do you think of whenever you go back to doing kind of more like intimate stories, like this 308?
That's a good question.
Those relationship stories.
I-
We're getting a little bit right now amazing, but this one is fantastic.
The reason that works is Stanley, and this is something Stanley preached, is that if you do too much of one for too often, then everybody pines for the other. In other words, if there's too much fantasy, you pine for a little melodrama. And that was his reasoning behind creating Peter Parker and Spider-Man, is because it was a kid from the neighborhood, Jewish kid that messed up, lost his clothes, got shrunk in the wash, and he got beat up and he lost the fight because he was imperfect. But if you do too much of Peter Parker and not enough Spider-Man, then you have this loss of balance. And he said you have to find the right balance. Sometimes an issue has 70% Spider-Man, sometimes it has 70% Peter Parker, but you have to make sure you pine for the next go-round. And that was the thing you do, is find the right balance. All right, thank you. All right. Okay.
Hey, you guys
To
forgot
sign
to get
these
your
or
prints.
these?
Just
Oh,
sign,
yeah.
just sign it. They forgot to get their prints done.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. You guys are like the
We
first.
just covered up.
Well, you're the first group that all had your own stuff to get
Yeah.
signatures.
Did I talk too much?
Huh? Just join the show.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been mine. Good questions, great conversation.
Following your heart since the Iron Man days, first go around.
I appreciate that. Do you know that's the character I don't know if I would do again? The only reason I say that is because it bothered me that the costume was iron and it's pliable metal and it never seemed to be just right. But I enjoy the time on it. I don't pine for the days of Iron Man. I don't know what it is. Maybe it depends on the writer. I missed the Hulk too. Seeing all the World War Hulk issues in front of me. Really, that was another way that Greg Pak and Dan Jurgens on Thor, the both of them the way Frank let me play with the characters, they did the same thing. And said, listen, we have a lot of room to get really ballsy with some of these images, so double spreads and double spreads on their ends, and let the Hulk do this. And they let me do whatever I wanted, and I had the most fun doing those books. And I loved it. All right, so there's more than just Doctor Strange that I would do. In fact, all the characters I've done before, I wouldn't mind going back to.
Get one that you're not going back to with Iron Man.
I don't think I would go back to doing Iron Man. I don't think so. And if this gets out and then they come to me and say,
Come on.
Iron Man.
So you guys look out. So now everybody look out for John Romita Jr.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
This is gonna be round 2 of hazing for you. We're gonna
Yeah.
do Iron Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
You guys have been great. I really enjoyed it so
John,
much.
Thank you. My pleasure, trust me.